Have you been struggling to make progress on your goals and don't know why? Well, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to discuss the top reasons why you're not seeing progress. Hey, it's Allie here with another episode of Triple T, where I share some of my best tips and tricks to help you excel at work and reach your highest potential. And in this video, I'm going to share the top reasons why you're making zero progress on your goals. Have you ever hit a dead end with a goal where no matter what you do, you can't seem to move forward? You try searching online, asking some friends, but nothing seems to work, and giving up seems like your only option. Look, I've been there more times than I care to admit, and it's frustrating when every time you search for a clue, you find more questions than answers. So to help you out, I've compiled all the reasons why you're not seeing progress with your goals. No more wasted hours weeding through hundreds of websites. You can get the clarity you need within minutes. Now, after watching this video, you're going to want some strategies to level up your goals. So be sure to watch this video next so you can do that. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and grab a drink, and I'll get started. Reason 1, your heart isn't in it. Do you tend to do the bare minimum required to reaching your goal? Maybe you push everything off until last minute or avoid doing the task altogether. If so, then you're not making progress because your heart isn't in it. You're not invested in this goal. This tends to happen when people want to reap some sort of external reward like money or status, or they want to avoid something negative like getting yelled at by their boss. The problem with this is that you're more interested in the outcome than the process. So understandably, you're going to be miserable throughout this process and unmotivated to put effort into your goal. So if you tend to do the least amount of work possible, then you're not making progress because you don't care, your heart's not in it. Reason 2, ambiguous goals. Do you get this big internal question mark whenever you think about how you're going to achieve your goals? You may even get so overwhelmed by this that you end up taking no action at all or picking the easiest thing to do. If so, then you're not making progress because your goals are too ambiguous. People are creatures of habit. They love running on autopilot. It's easier to do and requires significantly less cognitive effort. That's why every time you try to pursue a new or unfamiliar goal, you instinctively want to resist. And if you have an ambiguous goal on top of that, then you're only creating more resistance. So if you're experiencing some confusion about what to do or how to approach this goal, and it's resulted in you taking little to no action, then you're probably not making any progress because your goals are too ambiguous. Reason 3, try to do the impossible. Have you ever put so much effort into a goal that you're floored when you learn that you've made no progress? You did your research, you created this painstakingly detailed plan, and even then, you're not even a quarter of the way there. Where'd you go wrong? If this is something you can relate to, then you're not making progress because you're trying to do one of two things. You're either trying to achieve an extremely difficult goal in a short period of time, or you're trying to pursue several large goals at once. There's this mentality that if we put our minds to it, then we can do whatever we want. The sky's the limit. But you only have so much time and energy throughout the day, and if you don't take this into account, then you're not going to make much progress because you're shooting for goals that need more resources than you can physically provide in that given time. So if you're putting a lot of effort into your goals but aren't seeing the results you want to see by a large margin, then you're not making progress because you're setting impossible goals. Reason 4, unrealistic expectations. Nothing's worse than getting grand slammed in the face with constant issues. Now you're making mistakes, more problems come up, and it seems like nothing's going your way. It's no wonder you're not seeing progress. Things aren't going the way you planned. But that's the thing. It's not going the way you planned. Sometimes we get so excited thinking about our potential future that we become overly optimistic about how things will play out. As a result, we forget to consider our own limitations and obstacles as we set goals for ourselves. And without realizing it, we've placed unrealistic expectations on ourselves in the process. We expect that our pursuit of our goals will run smoothly. And if they don't, we freeze up because we don't know what else to do. Now we're wasting time trying to get over the shock of everything. We're behind in our work and become so defeated from the whole thing that we're unmotivated to catch up and take action. So if this sounds too familiar, then you're not making progress because you have unrealistic expectations. Reason 5, toxic environment. Do you have someone in your life who feels obligated to tell you that you're going to fail every time you pursue a new goal? Maybe you're in a situation that promotes the opposite of what you're trying to do, like trying to be organized in an office that thrives in organized chaos, or trying to lose weight in a house that's littered with snacks and processed foods. If this sounds familiar, then you might be struggling to make progress because there's something in your environment that promotes failure. Whenever you're trying to pursue a goal, you need to pursue the path of least resistance. But when you're in a toxic environment, there's so many obstacles and triggers around that you have to work extra hard to get something done. And the more you have to exert yourself, the less likely you are to take action. And if there's no action, then there's no progress. So if you're around someone who makes you feel bad about yourself, or you're in a situation that makes your life even more difficult, then you're not making progress because you're in a toxic environment. Reason 6, tight-lipped. Do you tend to keep goals to yourself? That way, if something goes wrong, no harm, no foul, no one knows. It's your dirty little secret. If so, then you're not making progress because you don't tell anyone. It can be enticing to keep everything to yourself, especially if it can help you save face in case you do fail. But at the same time, you're making it that much more difficult to stay accountable, and you need accountability to persevere and be consistent with your goals. Without it, there's no pressure to stay on top of your goals, and you're going to let slip-ups pass without consequence, which is only going to get you further behind. So if you have a habit of hiding your goals from others, then you're not making progress because you're being quiet about the whole thing. Reason 7, tunnel vision. I want you to think for a second. When you reach a small milestone, what do? Do you celebrate? Do you treat yourself? Or do you check it off your to-do list and set your sights on the next goal? If it's the latter, then you might have a case of tunnel vision. You're so driven and focused on reaching the end goal that you're not noticing the steps along the way. And because you're not giving yourself a chance to appreciate how far you've come, your motivation is going to dip. It's going to be that much more difficult to put effort towards your goals, and at some point, you're going to burn out. So if you have a habit of ignoring small wins, then chances are you're not making progress because of tunnel vision. Reason 8, too reliant on one measure. I'm curious, how do you know if you made progress towards your goals? For losing weight, for example, people will look at the number of pounds they lose. For productivity, people will look at the amount of work they get done in a week. Although there's nothing wrong with using these measures, it can be a problem if you rely too much on one measure. And let me explain why. When you rely on one measure, you can accidentally close yourself off to other signs of progress. Losing weight is a good example of this. We tend to base our success on the number of pounds we've lost. So if we don't see any noticeable shifts on the scale, then we assume we're not making progress. The problem is that our weight is dependent on several factors that may or may not be in our control. So even if you aren't losing weight, you might be making progress in other ways. You might be gaining muscle or losing inches off your waist. But you wouldn't know because you're focusing too much on one unreliable measure. So the good news is that you might actually be making progress. You're just not seeing it because you're relying too much on one measure to gauge that progress. Reason 9, avoiding change. When you stop seeing results, what do you typically do? Do you change your approach, or do you move forward with your current plan? If your answer is moving forward, then you're not making progress because you're avoiding change. Look, I get it. Change is extremely uncomfortable, especially after you spent so much time adjusting to a new routine. But things never go according to plan, and if you continue to ignore obvious signs that your plan isn't working, then you're never going to see progress. The same issues are going to keep haunting you until you try something different. So if you've been sticking to the same plan with no signs of improvement, then you're not seeing progress because you're avoiding the inevitable change. Reason 10, imitating others. Have you ever tried something because someone you know got amazing results from it? Maybe it was a friend or a celebrity you look up to. Whoever it was, they felt so strongly about the results that they convinced you to give it a shot. Then after some time passes, you learn that you're not getting the same results in the same amount of time as they did. Now you're disappointed and resentful because you're not doing as well as they did. If this is something you can relate to, then you're not making progress because you're imitating others. When we copy others, we assume that the things that work for them is going to work for us, if not better. As a result, we create a mental benchmark for where we need to be by a certain period of time, and then base our success on how we compare to others. And if you don't see desirable results, then you're going to get upset. You're going to get frustrated, and you're going to have zero motivation to continue. So if you've been mirroring what others do with little to no consideration for your own needs, then you're not making progress because you're imitating others. That's all I have for you today. If you made it this far, then don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I've got some amazing things planned that you won't want to miss, and by doing this, you're helping other people out by telling YouTube that this is an amazing video for people with questions about goal progress. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Until we drink again, take it easy. Bye. This right here is an English biscuit. It even has some sugar on top. Food for the soul, let me tell you. I forgot the tea. How can you have one of these without tea? Blasphemy. Amazing.